Ukrainian servicemen using FPV drones struck Russian communication and surveillance complexes, as reported by the Main Directorate of Intelligence, HIR. The operators of FPV drones of the Firebird Special Unit of the HIR continue to methodically destroy enemy targets on the front. Communication and surveillance complexes have been successfully hit. The caption to the released video read, "Drone footage showcased a series of strikes on communications towers, followed by explosions. At the end of the video, a strike on a Russian military base is shown." Prior to this, HIR released 2 videos showing Ukrainian intelligence officers destroying Russian military equipment and eliminating personnel using drones. Infrared footage from the drone's camera captured several episodes of ammunition being dropped from the drone, followed by explosions. In one sector of the front, the HUR's troops burned down 2 bases of the Russian forces. Fighters from the Ghost unit of the HIR also managed to destroy Russian communication and surveillance equipment, a fuel tank, and several light vehicles located on the roof of a building. Another video showed HIR fighters delivering powerful blows to Russian logistics at the front. According to the report, soldiers from the Kabul 9 Special Forces unit destroyed over a dozen units of Russian automobiles and armored vehicles in a single day. Special Operations Forces, SSO, frequently report the destruction of various pieces of military equipment with FPV drones, including armored personnel carriers, tanks, anti-aircraft missile gun complexes, self-propelled artillery pieces, howitzers, mortar positions, and TOS-1A 220mm Solnsepiok MLRS fitted with thermobaric warheads. Today, there are some critical developments in the Toretska direction, Donetsk Oblast. Russian troops emerged from an underground passage to launch a surprise attack on Ukrainian positions in New York, Donetsk Oblast. However, the confined space limited reinforcements and made evacuating casualties nearly impossible. Here, Russians have embarked on an extensive bombing campaign, launching attacks and opening up a new front near the village of New York, Donetsk Oblast. As Russians continued to push into the southern outskirts of New York, Ukrainian fortifications got progressively tougher, slowing the Russian advance to a crawl. Footage from a Ukrainian observation drone even showed how a Russian sapper used an anti-tank mine as a satchel charge to demolish a Ukrainian position. The Russian soldier initially attempted to run away after he threw the mine into the building, but expectedly did not come very far before the mine landed and was killed by his own explosion. Through sheer destruction, Russians were able to advance further into the outskirts and take control over the smaller settlement of Avdiivka. Ukrainians did not give up ground without a fight. However, as geolocated footage shows, Ukrainians were intensely targeting Russian soldiers with FPV drones and drone-dropped grenades. Ukrainians also inflicted heavy casualties on Russian forces through their fortified positions alone, killing many Russian soldiers with small arms fire. Geolocated footage also shows how Ukrainians utilized Bradley infantry fighting vehicles to fire into Russian positions in the buildings, and the footage continues as a Ukrainian assault brigade dismounts from the Bradley and clears the surrounding houses. Such counterattacks severely blunted the Russian attacks, as Bradleys are incredibly effective in these situations. Bradleys used their automatic cannon to destroy Russian positions and suppress Russian soldiers so the infantry could carry out their assaults. If we look at the topographic map, we can see that the Russian spearhead is also exclusively contained to the lowlands. As such, Ukrainians can effectively fire into Russian assault groups, only worsening Russian losses. A Russian military analyst stated that Russians experienced significant difficulties in widening their spearhead because Ukrainians established strong fortified positions on the hills and had extensively mined the area as well. The Russian analyst also noted that further Russian advancement would also be extremely difficult. Ukrainian positions in the HIMARS district were situated on the high ground with powerful firing points. Additionally, Ukrainians had complete control over the approaches through landmines and drones. Then the Russians launched a plan they had long in the making. Russian propagandists revealed they had dug a tunnel under Ukrainian defenses from Russian-controlled Avdiivka to the Ukrainian high-rise fortifications in New York. Russians used this tunnel to move the volunteer Veterani Assault Brigade directly into the Ukrainian positions, causing chaos and fighting to break out into the Ukrainian stronghold. After securing the landing, Russians were able to move more manpower through to expand the fighting all over eastern New York. The tunnel they had dug was only tall and wide enough for one soldier and their equipment to pass through at a time, meaning Russians only had a minimal supply of reinforcements and ammunition for their landing. Additionally, due to a lack of a stable supply line, the experienced Russian Veterani unit also suffered heavy casualties, only increasing the total Russian losses in New York. The exact Russian losses are not apparent, but military analysts confirmed that the Russian 132nd Brigade had suffered high casualties, with 2 regiments being nearly completely destroyed and the experienced Veterani Brigade suffering heavy losses as well. These claims already indicate an estimated 2,000 to 4,000 Russian losses after only 2 weeks of heavy fighting. Overall, Ukrainians are still suffering from the aftermath of the failed brigade rotation. Russian losses have skyrocketed mainly due to their advancement being restricted to the lowlands, under fire control of Ukrainian positions on the hills, as well as the fierce Ukrainian resistance in the southern outskirts. Despite the initial success of the Russian tunnel tactic, this will not be enough to sustain their offensive operations, especially without new Russian reserves being moved to the area and Ukrainians moving an experienced and well-trained brigade to help stabilize the front.